Hey guys, in this episode we're going to take you through a full in-depth review of our hire a Maui Campervan. And stick around until the end, we'll share some expert tips to make your campervan experience 100 times easier. Our camper was the Maui Ultimate 2-berth from Apollo, built on the Mercedes Sprinter. It includes a kitchen, dining area, toilet, shower, and rear space that transforms from a bed to a lounge. Let's start up front with the driver's cabin. There are 2 spacious bucket seats with plenty of legroom and space to move about. And the front dash has a small touchscreen, AC vents, and some handy little storage compartments. Below, you've got your climate controls, some extra cup holders, and just below that, a USB-C charging port. Around the cabin, there are plenty more storage cubbies for things like hats, maps, plus even more cup holders. Just make sure to check them all before returning the van. Some are surprisingly deep and easy to forget. Now there are also extra cup holders right near the front, up near the windshield, though they're a bit useless as they sit in direct sunlight. And in the middle console there's another small storage compartment with the USB-C port for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, though it's placed in a slightly awkward spot. Both front seats can swivel around completely to face the rear, perfect for creating a small, makeshift dining area when you're parked up. Just behind the front cab was the dining area, which had 2 seats with belts if you have company, and a table. The table itself was a lagoon style, but it wasn't all that functional. We mainly used this area for our shoe and water storage. Underneath the footwell, there's dedicated glass and plate storage, which we didn't end up using. But behind that, there's a bit of extra space to stash some loose items. Above the dining area, there were 2 overhead compartments. On the left housed the supplied toaster and kettle, which can only be used plugged into 240 power. And next to that, housed the electrical controls. All the isolator switches for the appliances, lights, toilet, water pump, water heater, fridge, battery charger, and fresh and grey water tank levels. Oh, and I also included a sound system, which wasn't very good. Moving further back, you'll find the kitchen, which is quite compact but well equipped. Up the top, there's a microwave that again needs 240 volt power, and below that, a small sink and 3 burner gas stove, which folds down to create extra bench space when not in use. Below the cooktop is a 130 litre fridge freezer, which can probably stock about 4 to 5 days worth of cold food, but this freezer space is pretty small. Plenty for one of those long weekend trips. Next to that, there's a small slot where we squeezed in some smaller items. Above that, there's some extra shelving where we kept cups and condiments. Below is the range hood, which needs to be switched on at the electrical panel before you can start the gas stove. Below the bench is a pretty generous storage cubby, which housed most of our food, plates, pots and pans. On a big trip, we managed to take a coffee machine in there as well. You'll have to get creative on how you store your pots and pans though. Opposite the kitchen is a toilet and shower combo. The door has a small lock to stop it from swinging open while driving. Now it's pretty tight in there. You've got your cassette toilet on one side and a shower on the other. Definitely functional, but you haven't got a lot of space to move around, especially when you're trying to shower. Next to the toilet, there's a small closet with a mirror and a hanging rail. Though, to be honest, it's not that useful to hang any clothes up of this flimsy item. But the added space is definitely a plus. A full-length door mirror would have been much more useful though. There's also a 24-volt TV you can run off the battery, but this one had no aerial, so you need to bring an external storage or Amazon Fire Stick to use it. It can also be removed and placed at the front dining area. There's also a reverse cycle air conditioner, which works when plugged into mains power. Now it takes about 5 minutes to kick in for heating, and we learnt that the hard way on a cold night. The aircon works pretty much straight away though. Now to the seating. The seats are fairly firm but still comfortable, and they're a great spot to chill out after a long drive. Plenty of space to stretch out or have company over. To set up the bed, unlatch the lower cabinetry and slide it out to meet the other side. It definitely helps to have 2 people to try to do this, and open the back doors can make it a bit more efficient. Once it's in place, pull down the sofa cushions from the Velcro and put them into place. We also brought in a fitted mattress cover for a bit of extra comfort. Now it takes a little bit of effort, but in a few minutes you've got yourself a full-size bed ready to go. Our queen-size sheets just managed to fit. On each side of the van there are 3 overhead compartments where we stored our extra towels, extra bedding and even more clothing. There's also extra 240 volt outlets. Don't forget to lock them in place before you get going. Below one side of the seating there is extra storing where we kept our camping chairs. Further back there is the supplied grey water and freshwater hoses, and of course the electrical cable to plug into shore power. There was also a bucket, some pegs and a clothesline. On the other side however, there isn't much storage at all. It houses the hot water heater, pump and house batteries, so space there is quite limited.
Oh, it is cold.
You can't open that.
Oh, you can't open it.
Yeah.
Empty.
On both sides there are windows, but surprisingly no flat screens, which is a bit of a miss we thought. Each light can be turned on and off individually, and they're all low power, perfect for conserving battery. In the front section there's a skylight, which funnily enough is the only spot which features a fly screen.
Only here has fly screen.
You can also open it up completely. Give yourself a bit more fresh air.
Here, that's the only spot that has a fly screen.
Now for those who are travelling, you don't need to bring all your bedding like we did, as it's all supplied along with the towels. We just preferred to bring our own. It all came clean and neatly folded. Just remember, if you're free camping, it does get pretty cold out there. Cutlery, cooking utensils, pots and pans were all provided and clean on pickup. They were also provided dishwashing liquid, sponges, tea towels, rubbish bag or 2, along with a kettle to use on the gas stove. They even supplied extra toilet chemical. Outside the van houses a 5 kilogram gas cylinder in a lockable cabinet. Remember, you have to fill this up before you return back. Now one of the least fun activities is emptying the grey water and cassette toilet. Now, we actually forgot the gloves this time, but you may be on to pick up a pair before you do this activity. On the right side of the van, there's a valve and connection point to the grey water tank outlet. Make sure you lock this one in tight and only empty it in a dump point. Just above that is the toilet cassette. Now this is not fun, guys. We'll spare you the details here, but don't forget to add your toilet chemical again before you use. And make sure you hose down the dump point. There's plenty of these around South Australia, so you won't need to go far. Pack it all the way, clean up, and don't forget to watch out for that last bit of water in the grey water hoses. Give it a good rinse, and then don't forget, give your hands a good wash after. You want to grab an extra hose adapter. The one provided is a 20mm or half-inch fitting, but most taps we found were a 25mm 1-inch. Without it, filling up your water tank can be a bit tricky. and not every site has the right adapter, so it's worth picking up one from the hardware store before your trip. We had the van for a total of 4 nights. 2 nights at off-grid unpowered sites and 2 plugged in at powered ones, so we got to experience a bit of everything. And after living in it for a few days, we definitely noticed a few standout pros and a couple of things that could be better. First, the sink was quite small, so whenever we washed the dishes, water splashed everywhere. It's also a bit tough to locate the ones which are clean and dirty. Second, the bathroom's pretty tight, so showering can be a challenge. You'll definitely need to perfect the quick military shower to save water. We mostly ended up using the campground bathrooms. And the water tank's not huge either, so if you're doing the dishes and showering in the van, you'll probably need to refill it every day. But there are definitely a lot of highlights too. One of the best things about traveling in a camper van is the freedom to stop almost anywhere. You can pull over beside a quiet country road or a scenic lookout, cook up lunch, or simply make a cup of tea while taking in that view. No schedules, no rushing back to your hotel, just you and the open road and the landscape right outside your door. Plus, with all the luggage in the van, changing outfits is super convenient. You can go hiking in the morning and head straight to a nice restaurant later in the day. And one of the best things is that you don't need to pack and unpack every day. You just keep driving forward without having to go back and forth to accommodation. But the number one thing, as rated by one of us, is the ability to stop anywhere, even in the middle of nowhere, to use the bathroom. This has got to be the most convenient thing of renting a camper van. Now, here are a couple of our top tips. Bring along a dish drying mat to make cleaning up easier. You can pick these up cheap from Kmart. And if you use some mesh fabric along with a couple of magnets, you can make an easy DIY mosquito screen for windows and doors, which makes resting at night much more comfortable, and you can get that breeze in while you're cooking. Lastly, keep in mind that the newer Maui and Apollo vans only have USB-C ports for charging inside, so don't forget to pack the right cables. Interestingly, there are still a few USB-A ports, but they're located outside the van. And remember, the 240 volt outlets only work when you're plugged into mains power. All in all, traveling in a camper van does come with some inconveniences, but what you get in return is flexibility and freedom. If you enjoy adventure and spontaneous travel, it's definitely worth trying. And in the next episode, we take this camper van on an incredible journey through the Flinders Ranges, one of South Australia's most stunning landscapes. So make sure you subscribe to be notified, and we'll see you again in the next one.